Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 6. We'll explain to you about the non-ruminant production in Brazil. My name is NURUL IZZATI binti AHMAD ROSLAN with matric number BABL 190553992. We'll explain to you the introduction of non-ruminant production in Brazil. As we all know, Brazil is known for their cattle farming. However, non-ruminant production also playing big roles for their daily consumption. Non-ruminant animals can be chicken, pig, horse, also cats and dogs. Brazil is the fourth largest consumer of chicken meat in the world. Per capita consumption of chicken meat in Brazil grew at an average rate of 4.8% a year between 1990 and 2015 and 14.2 kg to 43.3 kg per person according to the Brazilian Association of Animal Protein. In order to fulfill high consumption rate, Brazil make a project in production of 14.5 million tons of chicken meat in this year, and it is 5.5% more than its previous record reached last year. For pork production, Brazil has a huge domestic potential for pork consumption. With over 208 million inhabitants, they consume 81.5% of the country's entire production, meaning that the remainder of 18.5% goes abroad. However, Brazilians prefer other species of meat rather than pork. That's all from me. Thank you. I will pass to the next presenter.
Brazil has been on a continual increase since the beginning of the decade. In 2019, production in this Portuguese-speaking country amounted to around 3.98 million metric tons carcass weight equivalent. By 2020, production is forecast to surpass 4 million tons per year. Brazil ranked at the fourth place in swine meat production country after China, European Union and United States. 2020 number of pigs for Brazil was 37,350 heads. Though Brazil's number of pigs fluctuates substantially in recent years, it tends to increase through 1971 to 2020 period along at 37,350 heads in 2020. Despite being the world's most consumed meat, pork is just the third most popular in Brazil with consumption level significantly lower than poultry and beef. Although fresh pork meat consumption has increased in recent years, processed pork products account for 67.9% of Brazilian pork consumption. The year 2020 was the best ever for Brazilian pig sector in terms of production, international trade and domestic consumption. That became clear in a report that was recently published by the Brazilian Animal Protein Association (ABPA). In 2020, about 4.44 million tons pork produced, which 1.02 million tons of them are exported with value of $2.27 billion. The pork consumption in Brazil increased by 4.5% with 16 kg per capita.
Hi, my name is NURAFIZAH. So what is the most common pig breed used in Brazil? The Brazilian breeders import pig from Europe and the United States, such as large white, landrace, Duro and pigtail. Then they breed their own hybrid from that stock. American Yorkshire. It is originated in England. It is produced a substantial amount of lean meat and has a lower amount of back fat than other breeds. Its meat is also often used in making well-textured bacon. Europe. Originated from America. How do you pig good for meat? Yes, it is darker red in color, most and has a fat marking, all appearing characteristic for pork. Those are used for commercial pork production due to its tenderness and flavor. Landrace. This breed originates from Denmark. Another type of pig to get if you want steady mothers that produce a lot of milk and large, with healthy piglet. That's all from me. Next, I will pass to next presenter.
Farm management of swine in Brazil. Traditional Brazilian pig farms in the south, most are small and mid-sized pig farming system, which is typically with less than 250 sows. The farmers of this farm usually employ the arrangements with large agribusiness that will provide genetics, feed, and technical services before purchasing the final products. In some integrated pig farms, the producers are generally employing the complete farrowing nursery and finishing facilities. Instead of rooms, producers use barns linked together by a system of sidewalks with low fences to guide the pigs. The finishing facilities are typically several barns, solid floors with gutter on the outside that flow to an anaerobic digester. Earthen pits are formed into channels and lined with plastic, then covered with membrane, add manure and let the naturally high ambient temperature and bacteria produce the methane. As with the finishing barns, the cooling system is combination of natural ventilation, misters or fans and trees. The barns are naturally vented with spray cooling system and trees are planted on the north side of the barns to provide the shade on the roof of the barn.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is NURTASHA ZAHIRRAH and I will present about poultry. First is poultry meat exports. Brazilian chicken meat production is expected to reach up to 13.8 million tons in 2020, up 4.2% from the 13.2 million tons produced in 2019. From this total, exports account for 4.23 million tons or 0.5% higher than last year with 4.21 million tons. The second one is poultry meat production. Due to relatively large production increase, the total volume this time for the domestic market is 9.6 million tons, 6.3% higher than in the same period of 2019. Most of the production is absorbed by increased domestic consumption. Per capita consumption is expected to reach 45 kilos in 2020, a 5% increase over 2019 with 42.84 kilos. For egg production, it is expected to reach 53.5 billion eggs in 2020, 9.1% higher than recorded in the 2019. Per capita consumption is expected to accumulate to 250 eggs this year, 8.7% higher than in the 2019. Brazil projects a production of 14.5 million tons of chicken meat in 2021, 5.5% more than its previous record reached last year. This graph shows the number of poultry livestock in Brazil from 2010 to 2019. The number of poultry livestock in Brazil amounted to 1.5 billion heads in 2019, an increase of approximately of 2% in comparison to the previous year. This figure has been on a continual increasing trend since 2012.
Hi, I'm IZZAH and I'm gonna talk about fund management. The growth of the poultry industry has generated important benefits for the Brazilian economy. The sector counts 2.8 million poultry farms, involve about 180,000 farmers, generate about 3.5 million direct and indirect jobs along the chain. In Brazil, this kind of business is run on at a small, medium or large scale. The small-scale poultry farm is where about 1 to 8,000 birds are raised. The medium-scale poultry is where there are about 8,001 to 100 birds are raised. Large-scale poultry farming is where more than 100 birds are raised. As most poultry producers are small and medium-sized family business, Brazil's poultry sector plays a critical role in the social and economic development and well-being of many of Brazil's rural communities. It is often the major employer in many rural towns across the country's south. They are raised in semi-intensive houses that are naturally lit by daylight, naturally ventilated, and require no heating. This has implicit benefit for animal welfare. Completely natural ventilation only removes excess heat, moisture, dust, and odors, but also help dilute and expel airborne disease organisms. Brazil is today the world's largest halal chicken exporter, and Muslim countries are the major destinations for Brazil chicken export. The birds are fed a maize and soy-based diet free of impurities and are slaughtered according to Islamic law.
That's all from us. Thank you for listening.